Thank you very much indeed. And that is today's BBC News at 1. Now it's time to join our colleagues for a look at the news where you are. But from me and the 1 o'clock team, do have a very good afternoon.
Thanks, Ben. I'm David Lum and you're watching Midlands Today. Good afternoon. The leader of Dudley Borough Council has told the BBC the authority is at risk of declaring effective bankruptcy. A public consultation is underway to create a financial plan to fix a £12 million deficit in the council's budget. Our Black Country reporter Emma Thomas has more.
Browsing the goods at Dudley Market, the household budget won't be far from shoppers' minds. At the nearby council house, financial stability is a subject of concern too. This year's budget has a £12 million shortfall, and next year's is forecast to be almost as bad. The question of how best to save millions of pounds is one the council has posed to taxpayers. There's currently a public consultation underway asking the residents of Dudley Borough which of the authority's key responsibilities they'd like to see prioritised.
Council has to prioritise health and schooling.
I guess if it was increases in social care, then maybe we'd be able to accept an increase, yeah.
Potholes, obviously, those are a nightmare. So
there is talk of council tax going up by almost 5% to help pay for services. Do you think people understand and don't mind paying that, or is it too much for people?
I think people are struggling enough as it is.
This year's council budget has a £12 million shortfall. Next year's is forecast to be similar, so a 4.99% council tax rise is proposed from April. It'll cost the average household an extra £1.70 a week. But that's not calculated to be enough to meet rising costs.
The alarm bells are ringing loud and clear. But if we don't make the right decisions now and over the next 12-18 months, then that is a real possibility.
The possibility the Conservative council leader refers to is bankruptcy.
But we really do need to change the way that this council operates and the services that we deliver in order to avoid going down the same path as Birmingham.
But he warns increased tax revenue won't cover the rising costs.
There is the nettle that is adult social care. And if governments, whether it's a Labour or a Conservative government, do not grasp that nettle that is adult social care, then councils up and down the country will continue to issue 114s.
Labour councillor Shaukat Ali is the shadow cabinet member for finance.
The reserves have been raided year on year, and they to a point where they're depleted. The council is heading towards bankruptcy, and local people are going to feel the pain of this.
He alleges that his warnings about finances have been ignored by the Conservative leadership.
All of that has fallen on deaf ears because of the financial mismanagement, incompetence of this Conservative council that is leading us or landing us at this stage.
The Conservative leader strongly denies this. Once the public consultation is complete, it will require both sides of the chamber to agree a plan on how to make savings, maintain services and attempt to avoid bankruptcy. Emma Thomas, BBC Midlands Today, Dudley.
Parents are being urged not to send children to school with measles symptoms after a rise in the number of cases. There's been more than 130 confirmed in the West Midlands since October. About 80% of those are in Birmingham, 10% in Coventry. But other areas are affected as well, and uptake of the MMR vaccine is low in parts of the region.
Few people are getting immunised, and there are various reasons for that. Various communities have various beliefs around measles. Best thing to do is have a discussion with the GPs or the practice nurses, and to book people in for the vaccine if you haven't had the vaccine.
Avanti West Coast and West Midlands Railway are in the top 5 train operators for cancelled services. That's according to an accident claims website. Research by claims.co.uk shows that just over 7.5% of Avanti West Coast services between 2018 and 2022 were cancelled. The company also had the most delays, with fewer than half arriving on time. Today is the deadline for people to register any objections to plans to demolish buildings on the former Birmingham Wheels site. The site in the east of the city was home to several motorsports, businesses and a charity, but it's been standing empty for more than 2 years. Birmingham City Council wants to develop it as part of the Bordesley Park Area Action Plan. It says it will be a catalyst for the area's regeneration. But the Friends of Birmingham Wheels campaign group disagrees.
We'll never give up because we owe it to the 100,000 unique users of this site, the local young people who wanted to pursue their passions and their hobbies here. We owe it to them to keep fighting.
Now, building scale models isn't the easiest of hobbies. You definitely need a steady hand. But one man from Stoke-on-Trent has become so skilled, he's getting a following around the world. Michael Erdley makes his buildings using everyday items like cereal boxes and food wrappers. Chris Steers went to meet him.
Michael Erdley's models on Real Life Staffordshire are so popular, they're world famous.
Well, the models have travelled far and wide. The furthest that I know of, unless they've sold them again, is New Jersey in America and Canada. A straightforward building could probably take 2 to 3 days. I always liked model railways when I was a child. Never really had the chance when I was a kid. Now that I'm retired, I've got the time and maybe the resources are a little bit handier.
Michael uses photographs taken on his smartphone to create the images for his models. He then uses items like cereal boxes to create the cardboard base.
This is a fairly straightforward model. It's a clothes shop in the marketplace in Leek. It struck me as being a very interesting looking building because of the shop display and the lovely old brickwork at the top and the fact that it's wonky. It just gives it such a lot of character, I think. A grayscale copy is glued onto card. This is mounting card, which is about 2 millimeters thick. The next step from that would be to take my colour copy, and that's glued over the top with the windows cut out. It produces this. So we're starting to layer up the various depths. Depending on the size of the model I'm using, sometimes I use a sheet of acetate, again a recycled product from food packaging or whatever, the clear plastic basically that you might get on your cakes. You can see the mannequins in the shop window, you can see a hint of the displays behind.
So the next time you see someone photographing buildings in your town centre, it could very well be Michael. Chris Steers, BBC Midlands Today, North Staffordshire.
Yeah, very impressive. Football now, and Burton Albion have appointed Martin Patterson as their new manager. He replaces Dino Maria, who was sacked on December the 9th. Meanwhile, Kidderminster Harriers have appointed the former Hull City manager Phil Brown. He won promotion to the Premier League with Hull in 2008. Kidderminster are currently bottom of the National League. Yeah, good luck to both of them. Right, time for the weather. Shefali is with me. How's it looking?
Not quite as cold as it was last night, actually, David. Thank you very much. Hello, good afternoon to you. Yeah, I'm happy about that. But all looking very quiet on the Dudley front here from our Weather Watchers picture taken at Netherton. However, that said, there is a bit of a breeze out there, fresher particularly so in the south. But we have got changes afoot as we head towards the weekend. You can still see we're clinging onto this milder air, but it's this cold front that's slipping southwards on Saturday night into Sunday that's going to trigger a change, as you can see, to much colder conditions, those blue colours starting to invade from the north, and the high pressure is going to be slipping southwards. But it does stay largely settled, so for those of you in flooded areas, you can breathe a sigh of relief. It is still dry through the weekend and into the early part of next week. But through this afternoon, although we clung on to some brightness in the south this morning, that's going to be replaced by cloud through this afternoon, and our temperatures not bad because of that northeasterly wind direction, so highs of around 6 to 7 Celsius, which is about average for the time of year. We hold on to the cloud then through tonight, and because of that, our temperatures should range from 2 to 4 Celsius. If at all, we could see a touch of frost rurally initially as those temperatures are at their lowest point, but tomorrow a cloudier day, a tad warmer but dry again.
Thank you, Shefali. That's all for now. Nick Owen will be back with Midlands Today at 6:30 here on BBC One, but until then, have a very good afternoon. Bye-bye.
For the unexpected. You've got to choose which phone.